Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Lily Reads. I am sitting on the floor because, as you guys can see in the clips before, I cleaned my couch. Now I'm scared to sit on my couch. That was like a whole labor of love. Like, I knew going into spring I needed to clean my couch. My couch looks like an entirely new couch. Let those clips be your reminder to clean your couch. Luckily, I can take off the fabric on my couch, but if you can't, use like how I use the manual cleaner. Use that and clean your couch. Get all that gunk off your couch, because looking at my couch now, I realize how dirty my couch was. But anyways, let's get into the reading vlog. This is the first full week of March, and I have some books that I want to read. March is kind of my books I've been putting off, books I'm just not really dying to read, but I've been wanting to read them. Things I would probably put on the back burner. I'm moving my stuff that I put on the back burner to the front eye. Like, I'm moving it to the front eye, and I'm gonna start cooking. That's what I am going to do, because at some point I was excited to read all of these books I'm gonna read in March, but I've kind of just let them, fester around. I'm not putting any pressure on myself in March, so I'm going to show you my ambitious TBR, and we'll see what we get through. I do think in this week, because I kind of have my week mapped out, I'm taking on less this week. I do think I can get through most of these books. So let's start. The first book we are going to be reading is by my beloved Zade Smith. We are going to read NW. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if this book is pronounced Northwest or NW. I do not know, what's the rule to that. They're talking about North and West, like directional, but I don't know if it's just NW or Northwest. So I'm going to say NW. I'm going to say NW because, if you wanted me to say Northwest, you should have put Northwest. We're going to read this. This is the first book we are going to read. After I get off this clip with you, I'm actually going to sit and try to knock out about 50 pages, just get started. But yeah, we're going to read Zade Smith. The next book we're going to read after that is 80 Days to Elsewhere by K.C. Dyer. This is a book that I picked up a very long time ago. I'm thinking pre-pandemic. Let's see when this was published, because I really think I picked this up before the pandemic even started. That's not true, because it came out August 2020. So I definitely picked this up in 2020. This is one of those books that I just picked up, women's fiction, and have never seen anyone talk about. I just picked it up at the bookstore. By the way, that is something that I'm getting back into. I want to go back to going in the bookstore and picking up books I've never heard before, because in my reading, a lot of those books have been winners. I need to trust my instincts. If you read a synopsis, even though you haven't heard anyone discuss it, pick it up. And that usually leads me to women's fiction. And I am kind of getting back into my women's fiction era. So I'm leaving my romance era behind, and I'm leaning into women's fiction. That's what I'm gonna. That's what I think I'm up to. So 80 Days to Elsewhere. Then the next book we are going to read is The Chain by Adrienne McKenty. I believe this book is going to be made into a movie with Emma Stone at some point. But I am getting my hair braided on Friday. It's Monday right now, so we have a ways to go. And I'm going to need something to listen to in the chair when I'm getting my hair braided. And I think I'm going to pick this up on audio and read it Friday. And the last book we are going to read is a book I really wanted to get to last week, but I didn't. I wanted to read it in Black History Month, did not. And it's the Meet Cute Project by Rhiannon Richardson. I picked this book up a few years ago as well. So you see what I'm talking about, how I'm just trying to get to books that I just kind of let sit around. This book came out in 2021. Yep, I picked it up a few years ago. And so I finally want to read it. The reviews on this book are so like interesting. Everyone hates the main character, which I know means I'm going to have the time of my life, because I love a main character that you're not supposed to dislike. Like, people like unlikable main characters. No. I honestly don't really like main characters who like are supposed to be unlikable. I don't like them. No. I like main characters where the author 100% is writing them to be likable. Like, you're supposed to root for them, but the entire time you're just like, no, this person is insane. Oh, I love it. That's one of my favorite things in a book, where like the main character is just so fucking flawed, and you're supposed to be like, they're great through their flaws, and you're like, actually, no, they're absolutely insane. That's my favorite thing. The unlikable main character that the book don't know is unlikable. Yeah, that's me. So we're gonna start with Zade Smith, something a little bit, a little bit more highbrow. And I'll come back with some initial thoughts, okay? Peace. Hello, you guys. I am here for our first update. Let me turn off my windshield wipers. I am quite literally in the elements. It is raining cats and dogs. But I need to come talk to you guys about Zade Smith NW, because I do have thoughts. First, I need to tell you what this book is about. So this book is about a group of people who live in this housing project in London. It's called NW, and we're getting to know the people in this housing development. We're getting to know about their past and what they're up to right now. So our main players on the board is this married white woman named Leah. She is married to a black name named Michelle, and they live in this housing project. She has a best friend named Natalie. Natalie is married to an affluent man, and they live really, really well. That is Natalie, and she's best friends with Leah. They went to school together. We are also following this guy named Felix. Felix is a former drug addict. And then I believe there's someone else we're going to follow, but I ain't got there yet. So the story starts with Leah. Leah is in her home. She's by herself. She's not expecting her husband home for a few hours. And she gets a knock on the door. And it's this woman who claims she went to school with Leah, and she needs some money. She is in a peculiar situation, and she needs some money, and she's going to pay Leah back. And so the woman's name is Shar. She gives Shar the money, but after Leah starts telling this story to everyone says she got scammed and that Shar is a drug addict. So Leah decides she's gonna get Shar some help. So she starts leaving like drug pamphlets at Shar's place. She tries to run Shar down to like talk to Shar, and Shar's just like, can you leave me the hell alone? And then this guy named Nathan, the other person in the story is Nathan. Nathan has come in and out of the story. We haven't heard much about Nathan. Nathan is the other person in this thing we're going to follow. But she gets a letter from this guy who she claims she knows, who says a bunch of horrible things about her and tells her to stop bothering Shar. So this makes Leah believe it is Shar's boyfriend, and she believes Shar's boyfriend is this guy named Nathan. So she gets a note from Shar's boyfriend telling Leah to leave her the hell alone. So she gives this note to her husband, and her husband's like, we gonna get to the root of this. And I really don't know where to stop the synopsis, because like, that's just what's going on. I'm on page 200, so I have 152 pages to go. Zade Smith, let's talk. This would be, I believe, Zade Smith's third full-length novel. She would already put out White Teeth and become this prodigy. On Beauty already came out. On Beauty came out in 2005. And I think this is her third full-length novel. I'm not sure. There might be one in the middle. I don't know. But I have always heard people say that they don't like this Zade Smith novel. And I am of two minds with this. This novel set off a blaze in British publishing that has still not been put out. Have you ever noticed a trend in publishing and you wonder to yourself what started this trend, and then finally you're doing your reading one day and you like look when a book was published and you're like, oh, this book started that trend. It's kind of like when you read Gone Girl and you realize all the books that came out after Gone Girl just copied Gone Girl word for word, bar for bar. Every British novel that is written in this way has stolen from this novel, and I don't know why I never realized that, but I mean that in a derogatory way. Do you guys, last vlog I talked about Fire Rush and I talked about Rootless. You can even put Mame in these categories. All of those were books written by British people. They all are doing what this book is doing. They're all stealing Zade Smith's homework. The problem is, I don't like any of those books. So how do you think I feel about the original? Now you might be saying, Kenya, what the hell are you talking about? I think Zade Smith kind of popularized in the new generation, going into the 2010s, the vague novel. The novel where it seems like the author doesn't want you to know what the hell is going on. And everything is written very flowery, very stream of consciousness, but also fragmented. You're jumping from idea to idea, paragraph to paragraph. Things loosely come together. That is what this book is. My issue with that is Zade Smith is too good for this type of writing. I think she started the trend. But I think Zade Smith is being experimental, and I will give her that. I think other people do it because they're not great writers. I think it's a way to cop out of actually having to write a compelling novel. So if you intentionally write your novel fragmented and, disconjointed, it doesn't flow, dialogue isn't very clear, you can just be like, that's my style. But I think a lot of people use it as a cop-out because they don't know how to write a novel that is engaging, that has depth, and characters that are interesting. But I know Zade Smith knows how to do that. And the thing is, this book has some really interesting things going on. All of the characters on their own are so interesting. The Felix chapter, our former drug addict, brilliant. A brilliant chapter. The issue is Zade Smith is doing a lot. Zade Smith is known to ramble. Zade Smith is a ramble writer. She is going to put as many words as possible in a paragraph. She's always been that way. That's just how Zade Smith writes, and we love her for it. The problem is when you're doing that, and you're jumping from thing to thing, and then this book is also written, let me show you guys, the actual form of the book, the way it's written on the page gets to be a little weird too. Like certain paragraphs have paragraph titles. Can you see so she's trying a lot here. But the best part of this book is the part where she's not trying. The part where you're just getting the Zade Smith of it. Zade Smith is amazing at dialogue. Zade Smith is amazing at characters. And that's the strongest part of this. There's something there. But the issue is she's doing that thing where you don't really know what's going on. You have to really engage with the words on the page to even try to understand. And it's just like, whoa, Zade. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot. And if you were just following one character throughout, think of an On Beauty in a way, you could get your footing. Because everything, you're like, okay, I'm with these characters, I'm with this family. But because you're jumping from thing to thing, it's just like, girl, you gonna have to relax. Girl, you gonna have to relax. But it just hit me when I was reading this last night. I'm like, Zade Smith kind of revolutionized the fragmented, vague novel. And all of those, by the way, all those books I just mentioned, Rootless, Mame, and Fire Rush, all British. They're all copying Zade Smith. Even Open Water, which I did enjoy, also is British and also does the exact same thing. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Open Water gives a shout out to Zadie Smith, so I'm gonna allow that. But like, oh, Zadie Smith, you started my nightmare. So I get why people do not like this book. I'm not gonna like this book. I'm sorry, like I'm just not going to like this book. This book is it's so funny that I give Zadie Smith so much credit, because at first I was just like, maybe Zadie Smith's just smarter than me. Maybe I just don't get it. I'm out of that era of reading. Like, either the book flow and makes sense or the book don't. Like, I'm sorry, I got my degree in English just like the rest of you hoes. Like, either the book makes sense or it don't. I ain't that goddamn dumb. And so at first I was just like, maybe Zadie Smith is just like, no, I've read Zadie Smith novels, I've read Zadie Smith short stories, I've read Zadie Smith stuff in like the New Yorker. Like, I can read Zadie Smith. This is just a big swing, and for me personally, it's going to be a miss. But I do appreciate what this book is doing, though. There's a message in this book, and the message in this book is like, when people all start off from the same space, where they all end up, that's the kind of thing Zadie Smith is trying to interrogate. Like, if all of these people in London end up in the same area, how do they all end up? So Felix ends up one way, Leah's another way, Natalie's another way, Nathan's gonna be another way. And so that's the conversation, you know? This conversation of like, what's preordained, I guess, like luck, what's luck and what's you actually like doing stuff. For example, Leah and her husband Michelle, they have a really interesting conversation, because keep in mind, Leah is white and Leah and Michelle is black, and Michelle is constantly looking to like hustle. He's trying to overcome their situation, and Leah doesn't feel any deep desire to do that. She actually thinks her husband's kind of corny, because he's trying to do stocks, and she thinks he's kind of corny. And it's this idea of like, Leah has always come from a place of like whiteness, and so like things were always supposed to be a certain way, but Michelle sees himself as he needs to pick himself up from his bootstraps, you know? When black people fail, it seems like a failure on all of blackness, but when white people fail, it's allowed to just be this one white person didn't make it where they were supposed to be. But when a black person fails, it's on all black people. Thought that was rather interesting. But yeah, this ain't gonna be the one, Zadie Smith, and that's fine. That's fine. Like I said, I've always heard people don't like this book. The issue is, I've been hearing people don't like The Fraud, which just came out by Zadie Smith. This is a republished NW, and The Fraud, there's a chapter from The Fraud at the beginning of this, and I'm hearing people don't like The Fraud either, baby. Baby Zadie, what's up? What's your tea, girl? Anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Peace. Hello, you guys. I am here to give my final thoughts on Zadie Smith's NW. It just wasn't for me. It just was not for me. This book really wants you to engage with the words on the page. But the thing is, Zadie Smith is already a wordy writer. And so when she leaned into this type of style of writing, where things are ambiguous and the plot is almost between the words, you kind of have to look within the words to find what's going on in the story. It just becomes exhausting. This was an exhausting reading experience. There's a chapter about Natalie. Natalie is the best friend of Leah in this story, and Natalie's chapters could have been really compelling. She has a really compelling story about how her name was Keisha. She started going by Natalie, so, you know, she could conform to society and then she married this guy, and then she just had a really interesting story. But there's so much in her chapters that you really just have no time to really sink your teeth into the story. But the thing is, that is completely intentional. That's Zadie Smith's point. Like, the entire book is about how it's written, how Zadie Smith is choosing to write the story. That's what comes when you are an excellent author. It just wasn't for me. Like, I did not enjoy my reading experience of this at all. I get the message of the story. I get what this story is trying to do. And I do think, it was shortlisted for the Women's Prize. Now, I do think that's just going to happen, especially when this book came out, because of Zadie Smith coming off of White Teeth, coming off of On Beauty. Like, they was just going to do that. They was just going to do that. But, it, in the front blurb, it was chosen as Book of the Year by some people for the National Post, the Washington Post, the Observer, some people in the Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Guardian, the Independent, the Los Angeles Times. So there are reviewers who really, really enjoyed this book. So I'm not about to say that this book is just bad, because I don't think that is true. And I think Zadie Smith was trying something that a lot of people do right now. Like, this book 100% was ahead of its time. So many people write books just like this now, but I usually hate those too. I didn't hate this book. It wasn't for me. I was never really in it. Sometimes I actually dreaded picking it back up. And then other times I was really in it. So it just, They had a lot of potential, though. The best thing about Zadie Smith, I think, is Zadie Smith's characters. I think when it comes to writing characters, Zadie Smith is just superb. And this one, again, this does not disappoint. The characters are just really, really good. I just wish they had more to do. It almost feels like Zadie Smith didn't even want to tell the story. Like, you ever read a book, and a lot of these books are like that. That's how I know they're stealing from this book. You ever read books and it seems like the author does not want to write the actual story that they are telling you they're going to write? Like, it's almost like they're trying to BS a book report, and they keep giving you information, and you like, when you gonna write what the thesis statement is? Like, you gave me a thesis statement. Like, when we gonna get into what you promised me? And they never do. That's what this book feels like. But I do appreciate the book, and I do understand what Zadie Smith was trying to do. And the book also has a really good message. It's a message about class, and it's a message about how people get ahead in life and upward mobility, and how much of your life is based on luck and how much is just based on, talent, you making the right choices. So for that, I give it that. Anyways, we are going to move on to the next book. I do not know what the next book is going to be, but we're going to move on to it. So I will see you guys then. Peace. Hello, you guys. I'm here with my most unflattering angle. Oh, by the way, look, we have braids, baby. Anyways, I need to come and talk to you guys about 80 Days to Elsewhere by Casey Dyer. So in this book, we are following a girl who lives in the East Village of New York City. She works at her uncle's bookstore. We don't know anything about her parents, but she has two uncles. She lives with, they're like a couple. She lives with them. She lives above the bookstore, and she works for their bookstore, and everything's great. She enjoys working at the bookstore. The bookstore is not doing that well, as like most bookstores aren't doing that well. And one day the landlord comes, and he's like, "I'm your new landlord." It's a new landlord. He comes, and he's just like, "I'm going up on the rent. So either y'all pay me my money or y'all got to get the hell out." So she's like upset because this is her uncle's bookstore, and this is her job. She doesn't have any other job. So she's looking for new employment because she's going to be out of a job when this bookstore closes. And maybe she might be able to get a job and save the bookstore. Well, this new job opens up where basically they need people to map out vacations for people who want to do vacations that people took in books. This is actually a real thing. Like, you can actually go do this. So like, take a book about like a classic book And in that classic book, they're going on a like adventure in the book. So basically, there's like cruises or trips you can go on where you go on the same adventure as your favorite book character. So basically, this job that she wants, she's going to be mapping out the adventure you can go on. And so she applies for the job. She kind of lies about her experience and all of that. But she doesn't get the job. She doesn't get the job. They go with someone else. But she's like, I need this job because this job has a really big bonus that comes with it. And she can use the money for the bonus to pay the rent to save the bookstore. So she really wants this job. Another reason why she wants this job is because she wants to prove to herself she can get out of America. She's kind of been doing the same thing her entire life. She's been like staying in the same places, going to the same places. She wants to do something new. So she wants to travel and she wants to save this bookstore. So she kind of does like a whole like last ditch effort and she gets the job. So now she is trying to travel around the world in 80 days, and that's what this is about. There's some romantic elements, there's travel elements. That's what's going on. I wanted to give a fair synopsis of the book. I think I'm going to DNF this book. I'm definitely going to DNF it for now, and we're going to move on to the Meet Cute project because I just don't feel like reading this book. I bought this book just one day when I was at the bookstore. This is like before the pandemic, maybe even. That might be a lie. I don't know when this book was published, but I know I purchased it a long time ago. And it's just not my style. You guys know I love women's fiction, but not all women's fiction. This book is really good to people who like to travel, who like to read stories about travel. This book came out in August, so I definitely bought it after the pandemic. But people who like to travel, people who like books about travel. I don't like books about travel. I don't like books about road trips. I don't like books about people. I could do road trips as long as like the different destinations in the road trip isn't the main focus on the story. So we could be going on a road trip, but like if it's about the destination, I'm not really for. I don't like settings that constantly move. I like being grounded in specific places. And so traveling doesn't really do it for me. The main character of this story is fine. There's nothing really to like hate her about, but she's just fine. There's just nothing interesting about this book. And I'm like thinking to myself, when I get to the end of the book, what am I going to gain from it? Before I DNF a book, I like to think to myself, when this book is said and done, what will I gain from this book? I don't think it's just going to be completion. And I have a completionist attitude that's like a good thing about me and a bad thing about me. It's really hard for me to give up on stuff, but everything doesn't need to be completed. And I have to constantly have that conversation with myself. Like, you don't have to see everything through. So like the joy I will get will be like, oh, you bought this book and you read this book. But I'll give this book 2.5, 2.75 stars, maybe 3 if I'm generous. And I'll DNF it. Not DNF it, I'm sorry. I'll unhaul it at the end of the year. And it's just like, then what's the point of reading it? I could go read the hundreds of books that I own. Yeah, we're at hundreds of books that I own that I haven't read. That's what I could do. So I'm sitting here confused. I don't know what to do. But I know for right now I'm going to DNF it. And we will see if at the end of the vlog I have some time to get back into it. But for now, it's a DNF. I don't think you guys are waiting at bated breath for me to tell you what I'm going to give this book. Because I know I'm going to give it like 3 stars. But if you like travel type of books, this could be for you. It's just not for me. It's not the reading mood I'm in. And I'm just like, let's move on. We're going to move on to the Meet Cute project. And we will see after that. Well, I want to read The Chain. So we're going to read the Meet Cute project. Then we're going to read The Chain. Then we're going to see if we come back to this book. Okay? Yeah, I'm about to take a shower. I just went out to eat with my man. We had a nice little dinner. I got my braids done today. Don't they look fresh? I was in the chair for about 5 hours. They had two people working on my hair. I like my hair. Um, we kind of went heavy on the boho, and that's not really my style. I was literally, when we were finishing up on my hair, I was telling the stylist, the braider, I was just like, yeah, girl, next time you see me, we not gonna go as heavy on the hair. But we had already finished an entire section before we realized like we was going heavy on the hair. So like we just went with it, and I'm fine going with it, but like next time I would rather have more. Like, I want you to see the braid. This is fine. This is the look. It's just not the look I'm going for. When I get braids, I want my braids to look like braids. And this looks like, looks like sew-in adjacent. And that's just not my style. Like, it's just not. But I do like the top. The top is really, really cute. But yeah, so I do like them. I like them a lot. It's just like this is not necessarily, I could see myself, like I like it because it's new, but I could see myself in like a week, 2 weeks being like, I've had enough of this, And so, but luckily I don't plan to keep these in that long. I am going on vacation next month, so I'll probably get new braids for a vacation. I kind of want cornrows. I want straight back cornrows. So this was just something for me to try to see if I want this to be my summer hairstyle. Definitely less hair. Definitely less hair. But it's not heavy. That's the good thing. And the hair is good. It's just like I would rather have more braids. But I do think I look really, really cute though. Like, I think I look cute, but like that's a given. Like, But yeah, I'm happy with the results, and I had a good time. I had a good time, good people at the salon, so it's all worth it, and I enjoyed it. But the work was excellent. The work was excellent. Like these braids are absolutely amazing. Like they ate, but like I told them to go heavy on the hair. And that was a personal choice. Like I didn't convey my message well enough. But the hair looks good though. And the more it frizzes up, the better it's gonna look even better. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Hello, you guys. I feel like I'm far away from you guys. So this morning, before I even started really with my day, I started reading the Meet Cute Project by Rhiannon Richardson. So in this book, we are following a Black girl who is a junior in high school. Her sister is getting married to this really rich man, and they're having a big old wedding, and her sister has become like this bridezilla. Part of her having her dream wedding is for everyone in her bridal party to have a date to the wedding who can also be in the groomsmen's party as well. So like the photos can be, equal. So if I got 8 people over there, he got 8 people over there. Well, our main girl, her name is Mia. Mia does not have a date. The guy she was supposed to take as a date, who was the best man of the groomsmen, he got into college early. So he has to go off to college, and so she doesn't have a date. Well, she could take this nephew of the groomsmen, but he is a little boy. She don't want to be at the wedding with a little boy. He's weird. He always got his Nintendo Switch, and he always be making like weird jokes about how cute he thinks she is. So she don't like this boy. So she's like, absolutely not. I'm going to find my own date. The only problem is she has no prospects. She's not really talking to anyone at the school. Now, she does have a very active life. She is on the swim team. She's in the National Honor Society. She's in the math club. She has 3 girls who are her best friends. So she has like a social life. It's just none of this socialness revolves around her having a boy. So one day her friends are over at her house for a movie night, and her sister Sam drops the little tidbit that she needs a date to the prom. To the prom? Okay. To the wedding. And they're like, what if we all set up a date for you? So they kind of set up this competition for a Starbucks card. Who can find our girl a date for this wedding? But it can't just be, here's a guy, date him. You have to set up a meet cute. Set up a meet cute where like you run into this boy, even though you know you're running into him on purpose. He doesn't know that. So like they're going to stage a meet cute. And when you stage a meet cute, you date this guy. You date the guy, and the guy ends up being the date to the wedding. And whoever chooses the right one gets to like win the Starbucks gift card. Okay, that is what this book is about. I have pros, I have cons. Let's talk about the cons because let's just talk about the cons. This book ain't just blow your mind. Like nothing amazing is happening in this book. It's written fine. The plot is fine. The characters are fine. There's nothing blow your socks off about this book. I don't see how this book could really be a 5-star to anyone. Number 2 issue I have with this book, there's a lot of characters in this book. She has her swim coach. Her swim coach is dating somebody. Those are 2 characters. She has her parents, 2 characters who we've met. We have the sister and her fiance we have met. We had the fiance, the boy she's not going on a date with, and the little nephew was something she's not going on the date with. We have the best friends. They have like friends and acquaintances. There's people on the swim team who we met. We've met a lot of characters. And it's just hard to like really keep up with who is who. So that would be an issue I have with this book just overall, you know. It doesn't have that bang that I really need from young adult books when I really like a young adult book. So we're not looking at one of my favorite young adult books. But I do enjoy the speed dating aspect of this book. I have learned that I like it when a main character is talking to a lot of people because it allows me to be judgy. I get to be like, okay, he's cool, he's not. So I like the speed dating element. I like this element of you having multiple like false starts with guys, and that's what this book is giving. So I'm really, really enjoying that. At this point in the book, because I am over halfway done, we know who she's going to end up with. And their setup is really, really cute. Like, really, really cute. So that is working for me. And, like, that's really my overall thoughts. Like, I'm enjoying it. Like, it's easy to read. It flows. It's not... There's some weird sentences here or there. But it flows. The issue is kind of like, I just think there's too many goddamn characters. But there's been some really cute moments in here, and the little speed dating stuff is really interesting. The only thing I don't really like, I don't really think that the storyline with her swim coach and they go to the community center, that's kind of like in there, and it shouldn't be. It's just another element to her life that's not interesting. But yeah, that's what's going on. So I'm enjoying it. Anyways, I'm about to head to the movies. We'll go get something to eat and head to the movies. Then I will come back home. I'm going to watch some Traitors. And then I probably will read another 100 pages tonight and then finish the last bit tomorrow. Anyway, my battery is about to die any minute. So I will just talk to you guys later. Peace. Hello, you guys. I woke up early this morning. Well, not that early. But the first thing I did this morning was I decided to finish the Meet Cute project. I'm going to give this book like 3.75 out of 5 stars. I knew this book didn't have great reviews, and so I was expecting to really dislike this book, and that's not the case. I find this book to be perfectly fine to good. It made me like have a lot of thoughts, like the different love interest in the book. The thing I'm really taking away why I won't give it 4 stars, this book never had a moment that most young adult books have, most romance books has, where like everything is fine. There's usually about 20 pages in a young adult book and about 30 to 40 pages in a romance book, an adult romance book, where everything is fine in your protagonist's life. Like nothing is bad. All of the pieces have come together. And then you get into the 3rd act and things crumble. This book is chaos all the way through. Like our main character is having the worst day of her life the entire time. Like people are being mean to her. There's misunderstandings all over the place. And I was just like, damn, can our sis catch a break? Another thing, the main character's sister in this book is a big part of this book, and she's insufferable. She is absolutely insufferable. She is older than our protagonist, and she's getting married, and she is so mean to our protagonist, like, and for stupid shit, and I'm just like, you suck. She's a bit too much in kids' business. Like, she really is invested in her sister's life in a weird way, and I'm just like, you kind of suck, doll. And she's a big part of the book, and the ending of the book, the third act problem is a problem with her, but it's not even necessarily a problem that affects our main character. It's kind of a problem in her sister's life, and it's just like she feels like she has to solve it. And I'm like, you're kind of being manipulated, girl. Like, your sister is like mean to you, so you have to care about her life. Like, see the gag in front of you. So I just didn't really like that. But and then our main character, the love interest in our main character, he get to lying. And at first I was just like, okay, it was a cute lie to set up them being together, but like, there wasn't like a real conversation to interrogate his lies and like there's a moment where like all of his lies crumble and our main character's like, oh. And so I kind of feel like he kept lying, and then he got mad at her about certain stuff, but she didn't know that he was lying about certain things, so of course he was getting mad. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't mind dating under false pretenses or being in a relationship with someone when you have false pretenses, but I just kind of feel like he kind of was kind of shitty to her, but she didn't know that he was lying about something. So he didn't have a right to be shitty towards her, and he never really had a conversation about that. But anyways, other than that, though, it was a really good read, and it was a fast read. 3.75 out of 5 stars. I didn't hate it. Now, I gotta go clean my house. I got dishes to do. I gotta make dinner. I gotta do my nails. I have a lot of stuff to do. So I am going to read the chain on audio. In my initial clip, I said I was going to read the chain when I got my hair done, but that never happened because at my beauty salon, they had a movie on, and I kind of got into the movie, and I watched the movie the entire time they was doing my hair. So I got to chat, and then was watching the movie, then was on social media. So like, I never actually read anything while I was getting my hair done, which like was a waste of 7 hours. Like, I should have done something. But so I still have to read the chain on audio. I'm 100% DNFing 80 Days to Elsewhere. I do not want to read that book. I thought about it, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm ready to unhaul it. Like, let it go. I have so many books that I could read. And so I'm letting it go. But anyways, gonna go read that, and I will talk to you guys when I have some initial thoughts. I'm excited. I haven't read a thriller in so long. So I'm happy to get back into my thriller kick. But I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. guys. You guys saw me making my roast. So that means I was able to listen to some of my audiobooks. So I have initial thoughts on The Chain by Adrian McKenty. So in this book, we are following a cast of characters. We meet this young girl who is abducted. She sees this man walking towards her, and she immediately knows this man is going to do something terrible to her. She decides she's not going to run away. She's going to see if she can talk to him and like get out of it. And he's just like, get your ass in the car. She gets in the car and she realizes she's being abducted by these two people. The police stop these two people because they were speeding, and they end up shooting the police officer. So she says to herself, oh, they mean big business. So that flips us to another person's POV. It is the mom of the girl who was abducted. She had cancer. She is in remission. She had an appointment for her cancer. And when she's getting out, she's like thinking like, oh, did my cancer come out? She's just thinking about life, whatever. And she gets a call from the people who abducted her daughter. And they say, we need you to do some stuff or we're going to kill your daughter. And they start speaking about this thing called the chain. They are not the start. They are not the end. They are a part of this chain. They are a victim just as much as she is the next victim. So their son was abducted. And in order to get their son back, they have to do certain things. One of those things was abduct her daughter. And now they need to give her instructions for what she needs to do to get her daughter back, because they're doing the stuff they're supposed to do to get their son back. So some of the things that she needs to get $25,000 transferred to this place in Bitcoin. She needs to abduct someone herself, and then she'll get more information. So that's the biggest thing. The money is the money. The thing she needs to do that's like, whoa, she has to abduct another child so that she can get her daughter back. So the people on the phone quickly tell her, like, you can't go to the police. If you go to the police, we gonna shoot you. If you do this, we gonna shoot you. And so she's just like, I guess I have to do it. So she starts doing this stuff to get basically herself out of the chain. And like I said, we are following lots of people. We are following the daughter. We are following the wife. We're also following the people who like are doing the abducting. There's a lot of people. Okay, my thoughts. I don't like stories about missing people. This is a thriller thing. I'm very particular about my thrillers. And I don't like thrillers about missing people. Abductions here or there, because those are two different things. Like a missing person story, you're just in a book and you're looking for someone who's missing. An abduction story leans more thriller, where someone's being taken. This leans more abduction, but it's also leaning missing because there's a lot of mystery. I guess I'm trying to say that this isn't all that like juicy. Like this isn't all that fun. If I were to stop reading this book, I would be perfectly fine. Like I'm just not waiting to see what's going to happen. It's a quick book, so I'm going to find out, and I don't want to stop, but I just know this isn't going to be 5 stars because this book also has social commentary, and the social commentary is spot on. I agree with a lot of the things that they're saying. There's especially the social commentary on parenting and like blaming parents for the things that happen to their children, when in reality, a big part of how your children come out to be, what happens with your children, is a game of chance. Like people whose children have been abducted aren't necessarily bad parents. People whose children go off to be, Harvard graduates and live amazing lives, doesn't necessarily mean they were better parents than anyone else. And I think that's really sharp commentary and good in that way. There's some commentary on social media, but I read Wellness earlier this year, and I thought that commentary on social media was like spot on. So this ain't doing much for me. And I kind of feel like the commentary from the writer is getting in the way of like an interesting story. These characters aren't that interesting. These characters don't really have any depth to them. The story, like the actual plot, so far doesn't have a lot of depth for me to just be like, yeah, this is blowing my mind. So it's not blowing my mind. But I do see how people can like this. If you like psychological thrillers and that's really you, and I like those things too, this one just isn't, hitting much, and I just think it's all the other stuff. But I'm not enjoying it. It's easy to read. I want to continue it. I'm just it's not gonna be my favorite thriller of the year, I don't think. I'm only halfway through it, unless something just really blows my mind. Anyways, before I leave you, because the next clip is gonna be the last clip of this vlog. I think this is a pre-order from Barnes & Noble. Let's see. Ooh, you guys are gonna get a sneak peek of some book club stuff. We have The Partner Plot by Christina Forrest. To me, last year, The Neighbor Favorite by Christina Forrest was the book with the most potential. Christina Forrest had something there, and I just kind of think we went a little bit in the wrong direction, but this is my most anticipated book of the year. So of course this is going to be a Lily Reads book club pick. It's going to be a Lily Reads book club pick for April. So already get your hands on this. Go support Christina Forrest. And yeah, I'm really excited. So yeah, this is here. I literally wish I could read it next week. But yeah, that is going to be the Lily Reads book club pick for April. Then we have May and June. June is Pride, so I really want to choose a sapphic novel for June. I think I already know what it is. If you are in tune with the new releases coming out, I think you know what it is. And so there's just a question of what May is going to be. I don't know what the May book is going to be. We could kind of go back and choose a book from a prior year, or we could do some more new releases. Is the new Kennedy Ryan book, is that book a black on black romance? The reason why I haven't picked that book is because I don't know if both of the main characters are black. So I don't know, because if it is, I would love to. Kennedy Ryan stays with the mess. So like that would be fun to discuss. But let me look into that. And if that is it, then Kennedy Ryan is going to be the May. It'll be Partner Plot, Kennedy Ryan, and then that sapphic book. But anyways, you'll find out at the end of this month when I put up a video what the 3 books are going to be. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys when I'm wrapping up the vlog and my final thoughts on The Chain. And you ain't got to say it because I'm going to say it for you. This video is flopping down. I picked a Zade Smith book, didn't like it. I DNF'd the book, which is something I never do in a vlog. I always see them through, but no. And then the Meet Cuter Project, which is the book I thought I was gonna like the least, I've liked the most. And then The Chain, which I thought might be one of my favorite thrillers of the year, ain't all it's cracked up to be. I don't know, y'all, but I'm gonna finish and I'll talk to you guys later. Hello, you guys. I have finished The Chain by Adrienne Kenty. This book works. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It's just fine to me. It didn't blow my mind. I 100% see why this would be made into a movie, even a TV show. But this book is like, it's like a true crime type of book. I won't even say true crime thriller or true crime mystery, because I genuinely don't believe either of those 2 things are this book. I do not believe this book is a mystery. You're pretty much told everything. You get POVs from every single person on the board. So it's not really like there's a mystery at hand. And then there's not really many thrilling moments except for like maybe the initial kidnapping and then like the ending scene where, in a thriller, everything just comes to a head. But in between there, you just kind of get like information. I could say, oh, so it's kind of a cat and mouse. It's not that either. It's no cat and mouse either, because like I told you, you almost get too much information, which is something I rarely say about a thriller, because I do not like the cheap gimmick of withholding information in order to keep your reader intrigued. But I do think, like, because we're given so much information, it's hard for there to be any stakes, and that was the biggest thing. So you get just kind of a true crime story, a true crime fiction story, where, like, these people are, you know, a part of this chain. And, you know, that's what it is. But you guys know I really only like true crime fiction if there's a detective element here. And really, actually, we end up getting a sleuthing element. And I hate sleuthing, but it wasn't that annoying. It was just fine. Like, I wasn't blown away. I wasn't like, make this in either. So 3 stars. 3 stars, The Chain. I'm happy I've read it, but it's not like I need to pick up anything else from Adrian McKenty. And I'm not, this book won't show up on any list. Maybe actually most disappointing, but I don't even know if I'm that passionate enough about it to be like, I'm so disappointed, you know? Anyways, let's wrap up the video. So that, The Chain, 3-star book for me. We have our DNF. This is like the first time in a long time I have DNF a book in a video, and I am good on DNFing this. 80 Days to Elsewhere just was not for me. I slept on it and I just didn't feel like getting back. I was thinking about all the ways this book could go. Stay with me. I was thinking about all the ways this book could go, and none of them, like, nothing excited me. Nothing excited me. And even my wildest predictions of what this book could be, I don't find it interesting, and I know it's not going to go down that route. It's going to take the route of least resistance. Everything's going to be fine in the end. So I'm just like, I'm going to end up unhauling it. So let's just call it. The most disappointing book is Zade Smith's NW. The vague, distant, fragmented novel is not really for me, where everything almost feels like a fever dream. You never, as the reader, feel like you're inside the story and it's intentional. That is not my type of book. There are things about this book that are really good. The characters and their story are really, really good. There's just no plot. There's nothing for them to do in this book, which is intentional, just not for me. So I gave that book, 3 out of 5 stars. Like, I get what you're doing. I kind of don't even want to rate this, because it's not a book meant to be rated. Like, either you get it or you don't, but maybe I'm just copping a plea for Zade Smith. I don't know. And then my favorite book of the video, who would have thought? The Meet Cute Project. I gave 3.75. This was a flop blog. Another week, another flop blog. Yeah, I will see you guys next week when we start another vlog, and maybe we will get some winners. But yeah, it was a no for this one, but at least these are books that are now no longer on my physical TBR. I can unhaul. What will I be unhauling? I'm definitely unhauling this. I don't want to unhaul the Zade Smith. I don't want to unhaul the Meet Cute. I'm probably going to unhaul both of these. I just don't feel a need to have both of them. You guys know when it comes to my thriller shelf right there, I'm all rubbed. It's actually above there. I'm 1 in, 1 out anyway, so this gives me a reason to buy more. So I probably won't keep either of these, and I'll keep these 2. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next one.